Crossover characters in gacha games isn't exactly rare, but when it comes to Goddess of Victory Nikke, their announcement doesn't inspire me to do much of anything other than saving my premium currency for something else. And today I'd like to explain to you why that is. In Nikke, characters are categorized by their manufacturer. Think of it as a type of vague faction that all of the characters are sorted into. You have Elysian, Missilus, Tetra, Pilgrim, and Abnormal. All of the crossover characters in Nikke fall under the category of Abnormal, and this is very important to know. One of Nikke's primary gameplay modes, or type of activities, is called the Tribe Tower. And you have a general Tribe Tower that has no limitations, that you can do as many times as you're able to complete challenges. They get increasingly more difficult as you increase the stage. But you also have rotations of these categorized towers. So each faction has their own tower, and only Nikke of that particular faction is able to be used to do those challenges. Other than that, they also increase in difficulty as you go up the floors of the challenges, and you're limited to attempting them 3 times, or you're limited to clearing them 3 times. So 3 times for Elysian for a day, and then the next day it'll rotate, and so on and so forth. There are days where all of the towers are open at the same time, but you're still limited to doing each one 3 times. This is important to note because you're able to attempt them as many times as you want, but clearing them is what gets you the reward, and you can only claim those rewards 3 times. Now, why is this important for crossover characters? Well, you see, crossover characters, the Abnormals, don't have their own tower. The reward for doing the Tribe Tower is you receive 50 gems every floor, but on every 5th floor you get 100 gems instead. So it's a pretty important way to earn gems as you play the game. Now, if you do this strategically, this can be a great way to make sure that you always have enough to roll for characters that actually matter. And unfortunately, Abnormal characters aren't on the list of characters that matter. You see, rolling for more characters and getting Elysian, Missilus, Tetra, or Pilgrims means that you can take them in here and immediately put them to work, earning you more gems. You come here, you earn gems, you roll for characters, those characters can in turn earn you more gems. It's a loop that feeds into itself. It's a puzzle where everything has its own place, except for the Abnormal characters. Now, that's not to say that they don't have their own uses. Abnormal characters can be used in pretty much every other game mode. Arena, which is PvP, Interception, which is boss fights, or Simulation Room, as well as the campaign itself. But the problem is that none of those activities directly earn gems the same way that the Tribe Tower does. Which means that, as cool as it is to have 2B or maybe even Masato from Evangelion, where you want them the most, they can't be. And for a while, A2 here was one of my most powerful Abnormal characters. I was using her to clear bosses, but I knew even then that I wasn't going to keep her at the top spot because there are tons and tons and tons of other Nikke who would eventually be able to do her job, but better, and in more places. Or in the place that matters the most, which is the Tribe Tower. Now don't get me wrong, these characters that you see here are ordered from the strongest in the top left all the way down to the bottom right, which would be the weakest, level ones. And A2 from Nier Automata does have a pretty high spot, but that's just because, like I said, I was using her to clear a very specific type of boss. But now she receives basically no use, and having her up here is just kind of where she landed. Aside from the novelty of having a character from Nier or Evangelion, crossover characters serve no real purpose. And unless Shift Up adds a tower of their own, I see no reason to spend money rolling for them or time and resources investing in their character development, because like I said, there's so many other characters that can do what the abnormal characters do, but they also have a tribe tower that they can go in and earn you some gems for the next event, the next character, so on and so forth. So when I see that Shift Up is returning the Evangelion crossover event with new variants of those characters, I'm not interested. But I'll be more than happy to take those tickets and gems that the event gives you. But I'm not really interested in spending them on any of those characters. And the same can be said about Eve from Scarlet Blade. Is that the name of that game? Do I have that right? Scarlet Blade, I think that's what that game's called. If they're giving away Eve for free, sure, I'll take her. But I probably won't waste any resources investing in her, because unless she's incredibly overpowered and can be used for some other content, I'm pretty good with the Nikke that I have. I'm far more interested in Red Hood Rappy because she'll be usable in 2 different towers and is the only character in the game who will be capable of doing so. So she doesn't just have usefulness among, standard Nikke, but she has double their versatility. Whereas Eve doesn't have any of that. So again, they keep doing these crossover events, and I'm like, okay, great. I have a break to save up resources for when a real character gets added. One that doesn't have these sorts of limitations. Do you play any other gacha games that have a similar system, where crossover characters are not much more than a novelty? If so, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear more about it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in another video.